Hello, friends. I'm Jenny, and I'm so excited to tell you all about the new ways of learning English. In my last video, I shared my journey of learning the English language. As you know, I went to London and joined English language classes. I also told you about my fantastic teacher and her amazing and useful tech techniques that helped all the students to be proficient in English language speaking. Today, I'm going to tell you more new techniques that I learned from my teacher. First, I'll show you how to improve your accent and communication. On Tuesday, when I was at work, something interesting happened. Two customers came to our cafe. They are a lovely couple. The man starts to speak to me. I know that he speaks English, but I don't understand him. I don't understand what he wants. I think that he wants something which we don't have, so I called my boss. She speaks with the man and she sells him 2 coffees and 2 sandwiches. I am surprised when they leave, and I go to my boss and tell her that I'm sorry I didn't understand the man. She says it's okay and that this can happen when people speak with an accent that's new to us. She tells me that the pair was from Australia. The next day, I go to school and tell this story to my teacher. I told her that I felt really silly when I didn't understand our customers. I wasn't sure that my English was good enough for my job. My boss was okay with it, but I still needed some help from my teacher. I wanted to know what I could do in these situations. My teacher said, "I understand your point. You understand English which people speak in London, but the Australian accent is new for you. Your ears aren't trained for the Australian accent. You need to listen more to Australian English. You need to train your ears to this accent too. What happened to you can happen to everybody. You already speak English at some level, so you can do this. It's totally normal to feel a bit confused when you go to a country where people speak with a different accent. It usually takes around 2 weeks before you understand this new accent, so don't worry if you don't understand it right away. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. With a little bit of practice, you can train your ears to understand the new accent. I ask my teacher, what can I do to understand the Australian accent? I don't live in Australia, but I'm excited to learn. My teacher suggests watching films with Australian English or watching situation comedies from Australia. I'm looking forward to it. After school, I go to work again at about 4. 2 lovely customers came to our cafe today. They're not from Australia, but they're foreigners who want to buy some coffee. They're a little late, but that's okay. My boss is serving them when she hears that they don't speak English very well. She does something really interesting. She changes her English and uses very simple sentences with only 3 or 4 words. I can see that the ladies understand her, and they're happy. The 2 lovely ladies bought 2 coffees, 2 sandwiches, and 2 cakes. They were really happy, and my boss was happy too. When the ladies left, I told my boss how great she was at speaking in simple English so that they could understand her. My boss said that sometimes she has to speak in very simple English, even if the customer speaks English well or not. They are our customers, and we have to do everything we can for them. It's so lovely to see that they can speak English here. They can even come to our cafe every day if they want to. I think our boss is a wonderful businesswoman. She does everything she can to make our customers happy. It's true that we have lots of customers. Our cafe is always busy. If you want to understand people with a special accent, listen to audio like short stories or watch movies with their accent. The next day at school, I told my teacher all about it. I'd like to tell you about my experience with my boss and the two lovely ladies who didn't speak English very well. My teacher said, "Oh, your boss must be a very clever young lady. And it's true that you can communicate with everybody. People who speak English very well can have a conversation with those who are just starting out. Today, we can talk about different levels of English and what you can do at each level. Let's start with the lowest level, 1. At this level, students can speak about some basic things from everyday life. It's still very limited, but it is already possible to communicate slowly for a short time with people who want to speak with you. Your sentences are short, usually with 4 words. If the others also speak in short sentences, you can have a basic conversation. When students move to a higher level, which is 2, at 000 words, you'll find conversations are a breeze and sentences are longer. This is where you are right now. You can chat about anything and everything, from your family to your hobbies, job, and travels. Sometimes, you might find yourself wanting to dive deeper into a topic, but this level is perfect for everyday use of English. If you're looking to explore more topics in depth, it's a great idea to aim for 3,000 words. It's a great goal for any English student. Of course, you can learn more than 3,000 words, but 3,000 is usually enough for communicating in English about almost everything. I think the two ladies at your cafe knew about 1,000 words. Your boss went to their level and had a basic conversation with them after school. I went to work, and wouldn't you know it, those two women came to our cafe again. They also brought 2 of their friends. It was my turn to serve them. I spoke to them in simple, short sentences, and they understood me. This is great. They told me that they are tourists from China and that they like our cafe because people understand them here. How to speak fluently on Thursday, I went to school again. Our teacher asked us on Thursday. We had a great time at school. We had so many drinks and a lot of fun. All the girls and boys from our school liked the party. I really enjoyed it too because Joe was there. We could talk and dance together. It was all so nice. There were also 2 players from my football team at the party. They are from Argentina. Their English was basic, but they were so funny. They made a lot of jokes about life. In England, they chatted about other players from our team and girls from their class. Their sentences were short, with just 3 or 4 words, but they spoke fluently when we talked about the party. I told my teacher how interesting it was to see that someone who doesn't know many words can already speak fluently. I know some students who are at a much higher level and they can't speak fluently. My teacher said the 2 players from your football team showed you the right way. The players used what they knew, and they cared only about what was really important: communication. Then, one girl asked, "So what can we do if we want to speak English fluently to go to parties and make jokes?" My teacher said, First, let me explain what fluent speaking is. Many students think that fluent speaking is fast speaking with a lot of words and perfect grammar, but there is a better, more correct definition of fluent speaking. Fluent speaking is speaking without long pauses. Some people can do it at 1, some people can do it at 2,000 words, which is pretty impressive. There are also people who know 3,000 words. If you want to speak fluently, you have to practice. There's just no way around it. Speaking is a physical activity, like playing a musical instrument. If you want to play the violin, you have to train the connection between your brain and the muscles on your fingers. The same goes for speaking. You need to train the connection between your brain and the muscles in your mouth. Some students have one interesting experience. Maybe you have this experience too. You meet a foreigner who wants to speak with you in English. You want to say ideas that are in your head, but you can't find the right words. When you end the conversation and play it back in your head, you realize that you actually know the right words, but the conversation is already finished. Why do you have this experience? Because you have little training in your speaking. We've all been there. You're trying to say something, but you just can't find the right words. When the conversation ends, you play it back in your head and think you know the right words, but in reality, the conversation is already finished. Why do you have this experience? It's because you haven't had much training in speaking. It's not automatic for you yet. It's automatic for some people, but not for everyone. If you want to speak fluently, it's important to practice, even if it's just for 30 minutes a day. You can speak to a real person, or if you don't have anyone to chat with, you can just think out loud. It's important to really think out loud, and not just think in your head. Your head, you need to practice the connection between your brain and your muscles. How can you do this? Think aloud. This is a great way to improve your listening skills. I went to school again the next day. One of the students had an important question. He wanted to know how to improve his listening skills. He wanted to know what the best method is. Our teacher was happy to answer. She said, "Thank you for your question. Good listening skills are very important for communication. If you don't understand what people are saying, it will be difficult for you to speak with them." There are lots of materials on the internet for students. Some students can have a problem choosing the hello and thank you for your interest in our listening materials. We're excited to share some tips and guidance on the best ways to use our materials. There are two main types of materials you can use for listening: audio and films. Both have their unique benefits and are great ways to practice your listening skills. When listening to audio, it's helpful to know about 95% of the words or more. This allows you to understand the main ideas of the audio without getting overwhelmed by new words. If there are lots of new words, it's a great idea to read the text first and look up any unfamiliar words in a dictionary. This helps you stay focused on the main message and not get distracted by unfamiliar vocabulary. Of course, you can learn new words sometimes, but it's not the main goal when you listen. The main thing is to get information from spoken English. It's really important to use materials that are at your level of English. For example, You can use books in simplified English with an audio recording. I really recommend these books. You can choose a book at your level of English, and you can read great books. The second type of materials for listening practice are videos on English 5 days. They're also very good. You can start using them when you know too. If you want to get the most out of a film, I've got a great tip for you. Watch it for the first time with subtitles so you can follow the story. Then, watch it again without subtitles. If you really love it, you can even watch it more than once. The more you watch a film, the more you'll understand. And don't forget to watch videos on the internet about interesting subjects. If you like stories, you can watch short stories. You can also watch reality shows. They're much easier to understand than films or documentaries because the structure of the show is usually the same. And remember, you've got to have at least 30 minutes to really get the most out of it. Just 10 minutes a day of listening to English materials is all it takes. It's always a good idea to check in with yourself and see what you already understand. Even if it's just 10%, that's a great start. Keep listening, and before you know it, you'll be at 20 or 30%. And don't forget to celebrate every new sentence you understand. Thank you so much. All the students say that your help is really helpful. You're doing a great job. The listening topic is very interesting for me now. I know what I can do to improve my listening skills. So, if you want to speak fluently, speak for 30 minutes every day. Do each activity for 30 minutes every day. The voiceover in this video is given by English 5 Days Copying or Read. Just a heads up, uploading is totally forbidden. Thanks.